discussion on state executive. And within a state executive, the first thing which we will discuss is the constitutional position of governor of the state. Friends, by now you know fully well that in India we have federal polity. And within the federal polity framework which we have, separate executive is at union, separate executive is at state. Within union executive, the two most important constitutional authorities are the president and the prime minister, which we have discussed in detail. On similar pattern, within the state executive, we have the two most important constitutional authorities, that is the governor of the state and the chief minister of the state. And we are going to start the discussion about governor. Friends, I would like you all to remember that governor of a state within the federal polity framework occupies the same position in legislature and administration of the state the way president occupies the position in legislation and administration of union. Okay, but some differences are there. We will see those differences, but first we will be talking in detail about the constitutional position of governor. I would just like you all to remember that as per Article 153 of Indian Constitution, you need to remember that there shall be a governor for each state, Okay. So what is written in Article 153 of Indian Constitution? There shall be governor for each state. So at any point of time, there must be a governor in the state. Now, amendments were done in Article 153 way back in 1956 through 7th Constitutional Amendment Act itself, right? So, through 7th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1956, changes were brought, and now what is the provision? That same person can be appointed as governor of the state, governor of two or more states. So now there is a provision that is the same person can be appointed as governor for two or even more states. Now why we brought the changes? Because governor is must within the scheme of administration, within the scheme of legislature in the state. Now if there is sudden vacancy in the office of governor in any state, then President of India can give the additional charge of governor of nearby state. So at any given point of time, same person can be appointed as governor for two or even more states. So only thing I would just like you all to remember that Article 153 of Indian Constitution says there shall be a governor for each state, and since 1956 we have this provision that same person can be appointed as the governor for two or more states. Okay, now the most important thing, and I am going to start the discussion with one statement which will get fully established towards the end of discussion again. And you know what is that statement? If you examine the constitutional position of governor, if you do an in-depth analysis of the provisions which are related with governor in the constitution and within the federal polity of India, you will land up concluding that governor of a state is performing dual function, is discharging dual role. So what I would like you all to remember, a close examination of constitutional position of governor of a state and an in-depth analysis about the provisions which finds explicit mention in the Constitution of India can bring us to this conclusion that governor of a state is performing dual role. So governor is performing dual role. Dual role. What is the dual role? The first role of governor is as the head of state executive. As the head of state executive. The way, this is very, very important. Dual role. Okay, so the first is as the head of state executive. The way president is the head of union executive, on similar lines, governor is the head of state executive. But the second role is very, very important, and that second role is as an agent of center or union government. So governor is sitting in the state also as an agent of union government or center. So dual role of governor within the federal polity of India. The first role is the head of state executive, the way the president of India is head of union executive, but governor second role is equally important, and that is he is within the state as an agent for center, as an agent of central government or union government. So one by one, we will examine the constitutional position of governor in relation to the dual roles. Okay, so the first we will see how governor is the head of state executive. Okay, so I would just like you all to remember that governor in state executive occupies the same position with some differences, of course, same position as that of president, in union executive, okay, with some differences, and those differences we will see, but primarily the governor is the symbolic head, figurehead, and virtually the powers are concentrated in the hands of chief minister, who is the head of council of ministers or the head of the state government in practical terms. So we will see everything first about the state executive, and within the state executive, how governor is the head of state executive. I would just like you all to remember that to understand the constitutional position of governor as the head of a state executive, we should read Article 154, and we should always read this Article 154 in association with Article 163 of Indian Constitution. So we should always read 154 along with Article 163 of Indian Constitution. Then only we will understand the constitutional position of governor within the state executive. So what you need to remember, we must always read Article 154 along with Article 163 of Indian Constitution. Now, what is there in Article 154 and what is there in Article 163? Okay, so Article 154 says that all executive powers of the state is vested in the governor. All executive power of the state is vested in governor, and governor has to exercise these powers on his or her own. They can exercise these power on his or her own or through any officer subordinate or through officers subordinate to him or her. Okay, so very simple is the provision under Article 154 of Indian Constitution. What is the provision under Article 154 of Indian Constitution? That all the executive powers of the state will be vested in hands of governor of the state, and governor has the option to exercise these powers either on his or her own or through any officer subordinate within state executive to him or her. Now this brings us to this conclusion that every executive, a governor is the executive head of the state. But in practical term, de facto head is chief minister. From where we get to know that de facto head in the state executive is chief minister? Only when we read Article 154 along with Article 163 of Indian Constitution. And Article 163 is very, very important. Okay, what you need to remember that as per Article 163 of Indian Constitution, there shall be a council of ministers, and this council of ministers will be headed by chief minister. Okay, this council of ministers will be headed by chief minister, and this council of ministers which is headed by chief minister will aid and advise governor. But the most important thing, which finds an explicit mention in Article 163, that governor has to exercise his functions on the advice of Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister or in his discretion. And this is where there is difference between President in Union Executive and Governor within the State Executive. We will see. But what you need to remember, what is written in Article 163, there shall be a Council of Minister headed by Chief Minister to aid and advise Governor, and this is the most important thing. Governor will exercise his executive powers on advice of Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister or in his discretion. This word is most important. In his discretion. In his discretion, if he is required under this Constitution, if he is required under this Constitution. And this is what is written in Article 163, Clause 1. So very, very important, all of you, just try to understand this, that governor is the head of state executive. All executive powers of the state is vested in hands of governor, but governor has to exercise these powers either on advice of Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister of the state or in his discretion, right? Or in his discretion if it is required under this Constitution. Friends, what I would just like you all to remember, can you recall while we were talking about the constitutional position of President of India, I told you that as far as discretionary powers of President is concerned, these powers are extra constitutional, meaning in reference to, in relation to President, discretionary powers are nowhere mentioned in the Constitution. President acquired discretionary powers on special occasions under very extraordinary circumstances with the intention to save the country from constitutional crisis. But what is different about governor? Discretionary powers for governor is constitutional. It is very well mentioned within Article 163(1). And Article 163 Clause 1 says categorically that governor of the state should exercise executive powers either on his own, in his discretion if Constitution requires so, or on the advice of Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister. So what we can conclude, that 2-3 things we can conclude. Number one, that discretionary powers for governor is constitutional. Okay, discretionary power for governor is constitutional. And governor has to exercise executive powers either on advice of Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister. But if governor feels that under this constitution, he should use his discretion rather than exercising the power on the advice of Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister, then he will use the discretion. Both things are mentioned in article, right? Article 163 clause 1. So what we can conclude, just try to understand this, what we can conclude, that if we see discretionary power, if we see the discretionary power, discretionary powers in relation to executive powers or in relation to administration, you can say, right, executive power, and if we compare it, right, if we compare it with president and governor, first thing what we see about president, that these powers are extra constitutional. Right, extra constitutional. Meaning what? For president it's extra constitutional, nowhere mentioned in constitution. But for governor, discretionary power is constitutional. Discretionary power is constitutional. And not only the discretionary power is constitutional, for president it is implicit. But for governor it is explicit. Okay. It's very well mentioned in Article 163 clause 1 that governor has two options as far as exercise of executive powers are concerned. In normal situation, the governor should exercise the executive powers in accordance with the advice which is given to him or her by the Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister. But if the governor feels that under this constitution he should use such power in his or her discretion, then he can even use the discretion. This is what is mentioned in Article 163 clause 1. For president, I told you that nowhere it is mentioned in constitution, and president will acquire those powers on a under special circumstances just to save the country from constitutional crisis, only in situation where the provisions of constitution are not silent. But very explicit is the mention of discretionary power of governor. And I would just like you all to remember that Article 163 clause 2, Article 163 clause 2 is further widening the scope of discretionary power of governor. Scope of discretionary power of governor of the state is getting expanded, or widening in amplitude is happening because of Article 163 clause 2. 163 clause 1 is making discretionary power of governor constitutional. But Article 163 clause 2 is widening the scope and amplitude of discretionary power of governor. How? Right? What is written in Article 163, right? 163 clause 2. It is written that if any question arises if any question arises whether any matter is or is not a matter in respect of which governor should exercise discretionary power, then decision of governor shall be final. Decision of governor shall be final. Now you see, if there is a doubt in anybody's mind that whether on such issue, whether on such matter, the governor should use discretionary powers or not, then the decision which is taken by the governor in his or her discretion is final. And not only it's final, but the validity of this decision cannot be questioned on any ground. So this Article 163 Clause 2 is widening the scope. It is widening the amplitude of discretionary power of the governor. And how is it widening the scope and amplitude of discretionary power of the governor? Because two things are written in Article 163 Clause 2. Number one, that if any question arises, if any doubt is there whether on the matter governor should use discretionary power or not, then in such matter the decision of governor in his or her discretion shall be final. The governor will think on his own, on her own, and will decide, no, this falls within the ambit of discretionary power of governor, and I will exercise my discretionary power, and this decision is final. And nobody can question this decision. Validity of this cannot be questioned on any ground. See, decision can be questioned. The decision which is taken by the governor may be questioned in court, but nobody can question in court that why governor acted in his discretion. So, Article 163, Clause 2 is widening the scope of discretionary power of governor. So, I would just like, this is the difference, right? This is the difference which you will find in the discretionary power of governor and discretionary power of president. Discretionary power of president is extra constitutional, it is implicit, it is, right, it is circumstantial. It is circumstantial, it is situational in nature, but discretionary power of governor is constitutional, it's explicit, it's exclusive, and it is with very wide amplitude. Very wide is the scope. And widening of scope and amplitude is because of the provision which finds explicit mention in Article 163, Clause 2. So, I would just like you all to remember this, that all executive power of a state is vested in governor, But governor has to exercise these executive powers either on his or her own or through any officer subordinate to him or her. But while exercising the executive powers, there can be two roads. Number one, to an extent possible and feasible, the governor should exercise executive powers on aid and advice of Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister of the state. But if governor feels that under this constitution, he should use the discretionary powers for exercise of executive powers, then he can even use his discretion, and whatever is decided by him in his discretion shall be final, and validity of it cannot be questioned. Friends, with this discussion, I would just like you all to remember that President office is an office with great respect, overwhelming dignity, but less authority. But the office of governor is an office with great respect, with great dignity, as well as overwhelming authority. I would like you to remember that office of president within Union Executive is more ceremonial, more symbolic, and less functional. Whereas the office of governor within the state is both ceremonial as well as functional. The way President of India is the executive, the way the President of India is the constitutional head of union, country, similarly governor is also the constitutional head of state concerned. But in addition to constitutional head, has discretionary powers in the matters of administration with wide amplitude, because under Article 163 there is an explicit mention that governor of the state should exercise powers either on advice of Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister, or in his or her discretion if he or she feels that he is required to do so under the framework of Constitution. So you should have complete clarity that in reference to state executive, the office of governor is an office with great respect, great dignity, but overwhelming authority as well. And through the office of governor, the way it finds mention within the framework of Constitution, we can say very well that governor of the state is making center in a very advantageous and strong position in comparison with state within the federal polity of India, because governor is also an agent of center. So if the agent is powerful within the state, meaning what? Center is powerful, union is powerful, and I hope you by now you have understood that if we examine the federal polity of India, then definitely we can reach to this conclusion that we have a strong center and weak states. And as far as a strong center is concerned, we can conclude this on many grounds, but one of the important ground that governor, who is an agent of center, is very strongly placed within the state executive. So we need to even examine the second role of governor, that is an agent of center, and this we will examine in the subsequent video.